Zabiya Halal presents Muslim Fest 2020, presented by Dawanet and Sound Vision. My name is Wafa. I'll be your very excited for anyone who is able to join us through their home. And are we back? Hopefully. Wonderful. Okay. Sorry about that. This tends to happen when we're doing online streaming. But I'm glad that everyone can hear me now. I'm going to start again. So third time's a charm, inshallah. All right, let's start from the beginning. Assalamu alaikum to everyone once again. Welcome to Zabiya Halal presents Muslim Fest 2020, presented by Dawanet and Sound Vision. So my name is Wafa, and I'll be your host for this workshop session. And I've volunteered with Muslim Fest for 5 years. And I've had the chance to volunteer with the art exhibit and indoor programming. And it's always been a really, really wonderful experience, like getting to work with different artists and getting to see the amazing work that they do. And I'm very excited to be hosting this session with our wonderful local artist who's done wonderful work and has been at Muslim Fest before, so many of you will recognize her, with Sister Khaula Mazahar. So we're very excited about that. And although our festival does look a little different this year, it is also important for us to be very safe during this time, but still provide you with the creative spirit of the festival. And one of the ways the festival is going to be different this year, but very exciting, is that starting yesterday and until Sunday, July 19th, we'll be having programming. And each day we will have family fun kids programming at 11 a.m. and creative workshops at 3 p.m. And on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll be hosting a very unique drive-in experience. So this will kind of like be a throwback to when there used to be drive-in theaters. So that's be very exciting for everyone who will be there. Now, Muslim Fest is sponsored by Zabia Halal, Penny Appeal, Watan Kebab, Aya Financial, and Moya Financial. And our driving venue partner is ISMA Canada. So before we jump into today's show, we want to do a quick message from our sponsors and supporters without whom this week would not be possible.
As we enter 2020, Dawanet Canada enters its 20th year of engaging, educating, and empowering Canadian Muslims with its unique projects. Let's look back at the top 10 impactful initiatives of the last 10 years alone. 1. Our largest project, Muslim Fest, is an award-winning outdoor festival that celebrates the best in Muslim arts, culture, and entertainment, which garners over 60,000 attendees and growing. 2. Celebrate Ramadan is another large open-air event that provides free iftar to thousands of attendees year after year. 3. Understanding Islam Academy offers hundreds of hours of Islamic education taught by acclaimed scholars and experts. 4. My Voice is a magazine for the youth and by the youth, fostering creativity and facilitating dialogues that matter specifically for young Muslims. 5. TorontoMuslims.com is an online platform that shares Muslim community events and current news for free through our social media pages and e-newsletters. 6. Halal Serve is a food bank and delivery service that offers free food delivery to low-income newcomers in the Mississauga area with limited mobility. 7. Your Last Walk in the Mosque is a documentary which detailed the horrific events of the night of the Quebec shooting through the recollections of the survivors. The film was showcased at Hot Docs, Canada's largest documentary festival. 8. Canada Zakat also raised over $400,000 for the families of the shooting victims. A year later, we raised another $400,000 for Ayman Dirbali, the man who saved the lives of many that day by taking several bullets which left him paralyzed. 9. After the shocking van attack in North York, Dawanet partnered with the City of Toronto to help raise money for those affected. The Toronto Strong campaign raised over $1 million. And 10. Our volunteers. We have provided over 4,000 individuals the opportunity to participate in community service through our various projects and events.
I got the opportunity to refine my skills.
It's given me the space to kind of get in touch with my creative side and also learn about myself.
I've expanded my network and met so many new people. I've undertaken new challenges that I never would have taken otherwise.
Our vision as we enter the new decade is to continue to build a resilient community by nurturing our youth to become exemplary leaders. Our mission is to inspire young Canadian Muslims to proudly live out their faith and share their heritage and serve the community. You can support us supporting our youth by donating your time, money, and skills. We want to hear your thoughts on how we can provide a space for young Muslims to practice Islam while expressing their creativity and talents so that they can develop a confident Canadian Muslim identity.
Oh. Okay. Hi, everyone. So as I was saying, today's workshop is with an artist who I don't think is a stranger to Muslim Fest. So we're very, very excited that she's here with us today to do the workshop. So joining us today will be Sister Khaula Mazahar. And she is a self-taught and internationally exhibited artist. Her intrigue and emotions is evoked by situations and surroundings as it seeps its way into her multifaceted subject matter. She paints mostly with acrylics and, when her patience allows, oils. And she always conveys feelings that range from festive and lively, tranquil and contemplative to nostalgic and melancholy. She's an avid admirer of Rumi, so much of her work is inspired by his writing as well. And two of her major exhibitions have focused on women's empowerment and issues, and her figurative work often portrays women's resilience and their amazing ability to evolve. Her work can also be seen around the GTA with lots of public art projects that she's involved in, street art, and many, many art exhibits as well. She's a true believer that art is good for you, and she wants to bring art into the community through instructional team sessions and other art activities. So again, very excited that she's here with us today. And you can find her art events and group sessions on Facebook if you search Khaula Mazahar Art, and if you search Let's Paint This. That way you can keep in touch with her with all the activities and sessions that she's offering and her exhibits. And very soon she will also be adding free tutorials on YouTube. And when you're searching, do the same thing, just search Khaula Mazahar Art on YouTube as well. And you can also follow her on Instagram at Khaula Mazahar. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it along to Sister Khaula so she can paint with you all, and you can paint with her and see her wonderful work. Go ahead, Sister Khaula.
Oh, okay. Assalamu alaikum. So I'm just going to, you've already done the introduction, so I'm just getting the picture out to paint. And I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to adjust my camera. So you're just going to have to bear with me as I figure out the tech stuff because I'm really good at that. Take my words at a 50% discount. Okay, so I'm just going to fiddle around with the camera for a minute, okay?
So we'll just give a few minutes for the setup to take place. From the home of Sister Khaula, very exciting. This will be a very nice and intimate painting session for everyone. And hopefully everyone's comfortable in their homes as well.
Okay, for some reason I can't see the screen very big. I don't know if I've messed up on my end, but you guys will just let me know if you can see the canvas.
Yeah, I can.
That's the right angle. Okay, it's the smaller one.
If you want to just tilt the camera down just a bit, yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Actually, I have to pull my chair in as well. Just a second.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just see if I can actually fit my hands in here.
Okay.
Can you guys see this okay?
Yes. Yep, the canvas is good. Got good visual on the canvas.
Okay, I have no idea the screen is showing up so tiny. I can't see like the bigger version. I'm just gonna go.
And I think once you get going, we'll be able to see everything else too. And your hands are in the frame as well, so they can see the technique.
Okay, so I don't know. Can you see my laptop in the back? Because I don't want that to show up.
No. It's focused in on the canvas. Yeah. So we don't have anything else in the background.
So I'm going to go whenever you guys are ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. And you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so just tell me when you're ready and I'll start then.
We're good to go. Can you hear me, Sister Khaula?
Oh, okay. So they can the canvas, and I'm just going to show you guys colors that I'm using acrylic paint, and I've got, sorry. You guys hear me okay? Okay, so this is just the normal berry blue and
Yeah.
okay, and yellow. So just a very yellow, any shade will work. I've got a couple brushes here. I'm going to show you ones I have. Any brush work. So I've got this the background. Got a smaller brush that you can use for some grass. Okay. So first of all, what you want to do is wet your paintbrush. Always have your cup of water ready and some paper towel. And get rid of the extra water off of your brush. You don't want a whole lot of water dripping down the canvas along with the paint. And we're going to take a little bit of paint at a time. Okay, you can always add more. It's really hard to make it lighter once it's very dark. And I'm just going to show you which colors I'm taking and how I'm going to take them. I'm not going to mix anything on the palette. It's just kind of fun to put it right to the canvas and see what happens. So I'm taking a little bit of yellow. Okay, I've got the yellow. And on the same brush, I'm going to take just a tiny bit of blue right on the corner of my brush. So that's not a whole lot of blue. I'm going to take a little bit of white, and you can see I always take paint from one side. Okay, I don't like go right into the middle because that's going to mess up the rest of the color for you. Okay, so it'll mix in when you want it to be a pure color. So I've got these three colors on my brush, and I'm going to go right in to the canvas, and I'm just going to start with this very simple crisscross pattern. Okay. And what you're getting is this nice, very spring kind of green. Okay, and I'm just going to go across and down all the way, all over the canvas with the same pattern and these same colors. If you want to lighten it a bit, you can take a little bit more white, okay, and just go over that gently. And what this gives you is this nice faded kind of look. And as you can see, I'm not blending. I'm just going to let those colors stay the way they are. I like that texture and those brush strokes that you can see. If you want to blend it though, you can go ahead, dampen your brush a little bit, and the more you go over it very gently, the smoother it's going to get. So anybody who wants to blend, just go ahead and go over it very gently until you get that effect that you want. I like it this way. It gives a nice kind of impressionist look. So take paint as you need it. So I'm going to load some more yellow. And again, I'm taking more yellow, tiny bit of blue, and more white. Okay. And I'm just going to go right in and do this small crisscross pattern all the way across and down so that I'm covering the whole canvas with that. Okay. And if you see that, you know, you've gotten a bit of dramatic change in color, that's okay. Because when light hits your garden, you know, you've got different shades and shadows and areas of light and dark there. So anything that's lighter is just going to look like the sun is hitting that area a bit more. And it's fun to just let the paint do what it wants sometimes. See what happens in the end. Okay, load more paint as you need it. And you can always adjust the color. So if something turns out looking really different, don't worry about it too much. Acrylic paint is pretty forgiving. You can go over it and blend it into the shade you need it to be. And make sure you get all of your canvas covered. If you've got little bits of canvas peeking out, maybe your brush is getting a bit dry, so just dampen it a bit. Take some more paint, go over it a couple times so that you don't have little canvas threads peeking out from the back. You want a nice solid background. Okay, just going to lift this a little to get this bottom part here. Okay. my brush is getting just a bit dry, so I'm just going to grab a tiny drop of water, a little bit of paint, and go in and get all that white area left on my canvas. And any areas you feel like they're standing out a bit too much and you want to blend it in, just go over it very gently, especially where the edges meet. So these two colors you can see here, just go over those edges a bit. And then you don't have those dramatic dark lines separating different areas. It just kind of all fades into each other. And you've got this nice kind of faded out background that is going to be the background for some of our tulips. So you want to rinse your paintbrush out really well at this point. And always treat your brushes with a lot of love. They do need some care and attention. Don't leave your brushes in water for a long time. It will spoil the tips of the brushes, especially. If you leave them, they tend to get bent and out of shape. So you want to rinse them out really well in warm water and dry them off right away with some paper towel, and then leave them flat to dry. If you take care of your good brushes, if you take good care of your brushes, they last a pretty long time. Okay, so you just want to give that a couple minutes to dry. You can fan it a bit if you want. Acrylic paint dries pretty fast, so it should take just a couple minutes. And the reason you want it to dry is when you go in with your next color, you don't want that color mixing with the background paint and making a big kind of muddy color. And we are going to be using red next. So if you mix red with green, it turns brown. So you have to be careful to let that dry a bit. And once that's dry, you can just test it with your finger. It should be good to go into the next step. So for the next step, I'm going to take my round-edged brush, and I'm just going to take a very tiny bit of red, okay, and a lot of white, much more white. I'm just going to test that color right there on my palette a little bit because I don't want it very dark. I want it a bit faded. So I'm going to add some more white to that. And I'm not too worried about mixing it too much. Okay, I want those different shades of white and red kind of not blended, but showing up in different quantities. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give the impression of some flowers being out of focus in the background. So I'm not going to give them any particular shape. I'm just going to go in with my brush and very loosely just kind of go in and brush them in like that, very gently. I'm not pressing very hard on the canvas with the brush, just very gently kind of putting those in, because I want it to look like they are out of focus, but you can tell that there's flowers there in the background. Just gives it some interest, some more depth. So I'm just going to put in a couple. You don't have to put them in the exact same place. You can look at your painting and figure out where you want your flowers to go. If you want less or more. It does tend to become a lot of fun and very addictive. So don't put in too many. Once you get going, you just kind of don't want to stop. So just put in some and then rinse out your brush really well. You might find that you have picked up some green paint on your paintbrush if there were some areas of your canvas still damp. So you want to rinse out the brush really well and just wipe that off with a paper towel and just press the water off very gently so that you don't spoil the shape of your brush. And what we're going to do next is go into the foreground now, where you're going to see some tulips that have a more defined shape, as if the camera is focusing on them. So that's your background all faded out. And now you're going to have your tulips in the foreground. And what I'm going to do is just take some of that red and add it to this pink color we had. I want it a bit darker because these are going to be in the foreground and the focus of the painting. So I'm using the round-tipped, round-edged paintbrush because it helps keep the shape of the tulips without me doing a lot of work. So what we're going to do is go right into the painting, kind of decide where you want your tulips. And I'm just going to make this kind of cup shape. Oops. This cup shape with the paintbrush. Okay, so curving in, almost like it's a bowl. Okay. And of course, take more paint if you need it. Okay. So it's basically a very kindergarten approach where I just put in 3 petals shaped like a bowl. And I'm not going to blend those colors. Okay, I'm just taking some red on my paintbrush, some of that pink that we already had, and just a little bit of white. And what that's going to do is just going to give that natural kind of shade and streaks to the tulip. So it looks like you've put in a lot of work, but it was really pretty simple. The brush kind of does it for you and you didn't have to blend anything or go over it. Okay, and just add a little more white to some areas. Just okay, and I'm going to do that for all the flowers. Just kind of figure out where you want them. I'm going to take again just that red, a little bit of the pink on the other side of my paintbrush, and just a little bit of white in different areas. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of let the paintbrush do the work for me. So again, I'm just going to put in that kind of bowl shape. And there you've got your second tulip. Any edges that are kind of messed up, you can just go in and fix them with the paintbrush. And I'm going to use the same technique for all of the flowers that I'm going to put in some red, some pink, and some white. And I just want to add some more white over here to get that pink color again. And some white on the brush. I'm going to make one flower just a little higher here. And just round it at the bottom here a bit. Okay, and if you want, you can add in a couple more flowers. It's really up to you. I'm going to add in maybe just one more here, kind of going off the canvas. Fix the bottom of that. And just maybe one more. Okay. And so I'm done with this brush. What I'm going to do is rinse that out really well. You want to really swirl that around to get the paint out. Your brush, what I want you to do is press it gently on both sides when you've got that color mixed. And what this does is, with straight edged brush, it gives you a nice thin line. So it gives you a nice thin line. And what you want to do with that is very gently, I'm not going to press against the canvas at all. Very gently, you're going to start at the bottom. And if you're more comfortable going from top to bottom, then do it that way. And if you're more comfortable going from bottom to the top, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is very gently just pull my brush up so I get some nice thin grass strands. And I'm not pressing down hard at all. And I'm letting my brush, I'm holding it very lightly and just letting my hand curve a little as I come up. And if you want, you can go from top to bottom, whatever feels more comfortable to you. Okay, and I'm just going to pull up a couple of grass strands in different areas, just to give it that nice kind of wild garden look. And there might be some going behind the flowers. Oops, that's why you have to wait till your paint dries. Okay, so if you do that, like I do, I make a lot of mistakes. Acrylic paint is very forgiving, so don't worry about it. Let that dry, and then you can go over it with green once it's dry. But wait for it to dry, because if you keep going over it while it's wet, it will just keep turning brown. Okay, so if you do get some paint on your brush, some red or some pink, just rinse it out, take some more green, and go to your green and get your grass strands in there. Okay, and I also want some stems, and I'm going to be very careful to try and not touch that pink again. But I did. Story of my life. Okay, so you just want to get some stems in there, and you want to have these nice leaves coming up with it as well. Okay, so kind of decide where you want to put in those stems. Well, you want to put the stems under the flower, hopefully, but where you want to put the leaves and how many leaves you want to add with the tulips. So I'm just going to go in, put a stem here, and pull up a leaf. I'm going to leave one on that side. I'm not going to add another one. And I'm just going to hold this up so you can see it. Put a stem here. I'm going to make this one curve the other way. Just leaf here. Okay. And of course, if you need some more green paint, you know what to do. Just grab some blue, grab some yellow, mix that up. And just add in the rest of your stems. Add in some more leaves. I'm going to fill that in. Okay, and this guy needs a stem. And I want to darken that because it's going in front of the flower. Don't want it to look invisible. And just one leaf here. Okay. And then have fun with it. If you want to add some more grass, please go ahead. If you want to add some more leaves, go ahead. If you want to add in little butterflies or bees, that is totally up to you. And as soon as your flower is dry, you can also go in and just add this little part here. Go in and do this one. I'm going to wait for this one to dry because it's got a blob of pink paint there. And some green over here and a little bit over here. Okay, and there you have your little spring garden, or your memory of your spring garden. And don't forget to sign your work. Always sign your work with your initials in the bottom right-hand corner, because you never know when that's going to turn into $1 million painting. And one of your grandchildren can auction it off and give you lots of duas for that. So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you are willing, it would be great if you would post your little creations in the comments. I would love to see them. And a huge thank you for joining, grabbing your paints, and being creative today.
So this looks really amazing, Khaula. This is definitely inspiring me to take out some of my acrylic paints and hopefully try something that will come out looking as amazing as yours has. Question, so about like signing, is it important to sign on the right-hand side and of a painting? Is that just tradition? And is it also good to include the date?
Date is kind of optional. Some people like to include the date. Some people don't really like to include the date. Kind of depends on what you want to do with your painting. So either works. And signing on the right-hand side is just, yeah, it is kind of traditional. Nothing says you can't sign on the left-hand side if that's what you really want to do. A lot of painters or artists don't want to sign it on the front. They'll sign it, if it's a canvas, sign it maybe on the side of the painting so that your initials aren't showing up on the painting, but it's kind of up to you. Most professional artists sign it on the front just so that their work is recognizable immediately.
And I love how like the little details really add so much to the painting. Like when you added like the base of the flowers, like connecting the stem to the flowers, like it just those details add so much more to the painting. It's great. And
yeah, tiny details as you paint, the more details you add, the more realistic and the more, you know, complete it starts to look. So I'm very detail oriented. I like adding tiny details to paintings.
Yeah, and I guess that's the great thing about watching your tutorials. You can see when you start off with, you know, just a few colors and green, and how those details really add so much more depth, and it becomes more alive, and the texture that you talked about with the petals, and it's really nice to watch this happen and see that transformation. So I assume this is what we can find when we look at your tutorials on YouTube, or some of your sorry, my audio cut out a bit. When you go onto your YouTube and watch some of your videos on there, correct?
Yeah, I've got some very simple beginners level tutorials, and which are pretty easy like this. You can follow them step by step. And I usually add like little tips that, how you can get those effects without doing a lot of work, like adding your different colors to the paintbrush and going in and doing it just like at the same time. I also do slightly more advanced tutorials. So for people who are good with the basics and they want to go in and try something a little, next level. So I've got those as well, and I'm constantly adding more.
Okay. Do you mind switching your camera view again so we can see you with the painting, if that's possible? And then maybe you can, because it's so great having like artists like you who are in our community. So maybe if you wanted to talk about if people want to purchase some of your paintings, or I know I did some in the intro, but if you also want to just speak more about maybe when the pandemic is over and we're all gathered in physical spaces, maybe how we can sign up for some of your in-person painting sessions.
Sure. Let me just get my camera. That is the famous bedroom chair that everybody has to put their dirty clothes on. Luckily, I removed all that.
Is that? Yeah, that's great.
Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So to repeat what you said, I get distracted very easily.
Oh, I was just going to say that it's really great having an artist like you in our local community. So maybe if you wanted to also talk about if people want to purchase some of your paintings, how they can do that. And once like we're sort of back meeting in physical spaces, if people want to find out more about signing up for some of your like art sessions, painting sessions, if you want to talk a bit more about that.
Okay, so I can't wait, I think just like everybody else, to get back out there and get together with people. So I love bringing art to the community, and I do paint sessions. I do them with Studio 89. I do them with the Mississauga Arts Council. I do them privately for people who wanted to do it with their families or their friends' birthdays, get-togethers, whatever. I do those at restaurants. So I have a Facebook page where you can contact me. It's called Khaula Mazahar Art. I am apparently till now the only Khaula Mazahar on Facebook, so I should be easy to find. You can see if you're following the page, if you like the page, you will get updates on whenever I have a new event coming up. I have switched over to doing live events on Facebook just because we can't get out. People still want to do something creative, so it's great that you can still paint and grab your own coffee, grab your paintbrushes, paint along. It's a lot of fun. I do sell a lot of my work. I do a lot of commissioned work as well. Again, it's all on my Facebook page, so my contact information is there. You can message me if there's anything you would like to buy. A portion of everything goes to charity, alhamdulillah. And I have a whole range of paintings, so whatever suits your budget, whatever suits your wall, I can come up with that. I am doing all the kind of like tutorials on YouTube as well. It's just a nice place to share free resources. As I said before, I'm doing beginner level paintings that you can paint along at your own pace whenever you have time. Everybody's got a different schedule, as well as slightly more advanced tutorials. I'm also sharing tips, advice, everything I've learned as an artist for anybody who wants to get into art. I recently did a mural. I shared a bit of video on the making of the mural, and inshallah I plan on sharing a video about what materials I used. So sometimes it's really hard to find information out there about, if you want to paint something, what kind of paints are suitable for what environment, what, where the painting is going to be. Is it outdoor? Is it indoor? That kind of thing. Even like setting up your camera if you want to make, your own video of your artwork and the process. So I'm just sharing as much as I can, especially during this time.
Yeah, I think thanks for going into more detail and sharing like all the options that people have to learn and get started. So Jazakallah khair for joining us. This is really lovely getting to see you paint, and hopefully people at home had the chance to paint along with you. And if you didn't get a chance to do that along with with Khaula, then hopefully like on your own time you're able to pick up a paintbrush and start painting as well. So again, Jazakallah khair for that. And just want to let everyone else know that today is not the end. There's lots more happening. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. We'll be having another creative workshop. This time it will be a calligraphy workshop with someone else who is also no stranger to Muslim Fest. It'll be with Brother Umar Uddin. And so we want to again thank our sponsors, Zabiya Halal, Penny Appeal, Dawanet, and Sound Vision for helping to make Muslim Fest possible. Even during a pandemic, we can still have the festival. Yeah, Jazakallah khair, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.